All right. So are you ready to dive into some seriously mind-blowing stuff today?
Always.
Okay, fantastic. Let's do it. Today, we're going deep into those biblical events that kind of make you scratch your head.
Yeah.
Like, is there actually a scientific explanation for them? We've got a ton of YouTube videos to sort through.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Some are from Bible Oasis Official, some from Naked Science, Geographics, the list goes on and on. But, before we even get started, I just want to be super clear about one thing. We are not on a mission to, debunk anyone's beliefs.
Not at all.
That is not what this is about. What we really want to do is just explore this really cool idea. What if ancient people were actually seeing, real events, but they just didn't have the science,
Right.
to explain it the way that we do now? It's like bridging faith and science, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that these sources really get into. For example, the Bible Oasis official video, they highlight the story of Utnapishtim.
Utnapishtim.
Yeah, from the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh, okay, I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
it's this text that predates the Bible, and this guy, Utnapishtim, he builds this giant ark to escape a devastating flood that the gods sent. It's to ultimately save, his family, the animals.
Oh, wow.
Does that sound familiar?
Wait a minute, so that's incredibly similar to Noah's Ark.
Very much so. Yeah.
Wow. You know what?
Yeah.
It's making me think that flood narratives, those are found everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much all over the world in different cultures. So could these stories be pointing to some shared experience? I mean, maybe not one global flood, but a bunch of different catastrophic floods that just kind of,
Shape their worldview.
left this mark on everyone. Wow, that's kind of chilling when you think about it.
It is. And that's where the science comes in, right?
All right. Yeah.
Because geologists have found evidence of these massive floods throughout history. Yeah. I mean, we're talking huge geological formations like layers of sediment that are distinct, and even fossils of sea creatures that are found in places they shouldn't be.
Whoa.
Yeah. We also have, submerged ancient cities,
Oh, wow.
which are both fascinating and a little bit,
Makes it
unnerving.
trippy.
But while the scale and nature of these floods is still debated, the evidence is definitely there that ancient people were actually witnessing some real catastrophic events and not just making stuff up.
Not just stories. Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
Bible Oasis Official. They describe fire and brimstone raining down.
Right.
Divine punishment for wickedness. It's powerful imagery.
Very powerful.
Yeah. But could there be another explanation, maybe?
Well, one of the most intriguing things about this story is that many believe that Tal El Hammam, which is this archaeological site in Jordan, is the actual location of Sodom and Gomorrah.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that what they think?
That's what many believe. And the discoveries there are pretty wild. They found melted bricks, scorched pottery, and even this glassy substance.
What?
Yeah. And this stuff points to an event that had to have been extremely high temperature. It's far hotter than a typical fire could create.
So what are we talking about here? A volcanic eruption?
Well, possibly.
Ancient superweapon, maybe? What do you think?
There's this fascinating theory gaining traction. It involves what they call a cosmic airburst.
Cosmic airburst.
It's kind of like the 1908 Tunguska Event. Imagine a comet or an asteroid exploding in the atmosphere above Sodom and Gomorrah around 1650 BCE.
Okay.
Now, this would have created a shock wave with temperatures, get this, hotter than the surface of the sun.
What? Hotter than the sun?
Yeah. Instantly incinerating anything in its path.
Wow. So fire raining from the sky? Maybe that was literal. I mean, you can see how ancient people would think, oh my gosh, divine wrath,
Right. They're witnessing this unimaginable destruction. Yeah. And, you brought up the story of Lot's wife turning into a pillar of salt.
Oh, right.
Well, the Dead Sea, which is near Tal El Hammam, it's got really high salt concentrations and these unique geological formations. So it's fascinating to think, how that might have played into that legend.
Huh. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the plagues of Egypt.
Good.
Bible Oasis Official, they present them as this divine intervention, right, to free the Israelites.
Right.
But you've got the Nile turning to blood and all these swarms of insects and a plague of darkness. It sounds terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
But could we look at this through a scientific lens?
I think so. Some scientists suggest a link between the plagues and a major volcanic eruption.
Oh, okay.
Potentially the Thera eruption, which is on the island of Santorini around 1600 BCE.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see where you're going. Volcanic ash.
Exactly.
That could have discolored the Nile.
It could have.
And then caused these, like, toxic algal blooms, making the water look red like blood and then poisoning everything.
Exactly.
That's
And those blooms could have then, like, set off this chain reaction, right?
Yeah.
Leading to, like, imbalances in the ecosystem and causing massive insect infestations. It's like a domino effect.
Right. Each plague makes the next one worse.
Exactly. Culminating in this, widespread devastation. Again, we're not saying that this definitely happened.
Right.
But it's a scientifically plausible explanation.
Right. So a natural disaster through ancient eyes becomes, like, mixed with religion.
Exactly.
It really makes you wonder how many other historical events have these two different narratives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it raises that question. How do we separate, observation from interpretation?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about ancient texts. It's like we're trying to decode a message from the past.
Right.
Taking into account, like, both the actual events and the cultural context in which they were recorded.
Okay, let's dive into a story that seems like it just, like, breaks the laws of physics. Joshua's long day.
Right.
The sun stood still so the Israelites could win this battle.
Now, I know you can't just stop the Earth from spinning, but is there anything in science that could explain that?
That's a good question. A solar eclipse.
Okay.
That could create a prolonged period of, like, dim light, which, especially during a battle, might be perceived as the sun standing still.
Okay, all right. That's an interesting thought. Are there any historical records of this, of a solar eclipse, I mean?
Interestingly enough, there was a 2017 study from Cambridge University that identified an ancient record of a solar eclipse that took place around 1207 BCE.
Oh, wow.
Which actually aligns pretty well with the biblical timeline.
Wow, that's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
But just for fun. Okay, just for fun. Could a meteor explosion create, like, a sudden bright flash that would make the day seem longer?
That's a very fascinating idea.
And you're not the only one who thought about that. Accounts of, like, this unusually long day also pop up in Chinese astronomical texts and Mayan legends from around the same time period. So that hints at a potential global event. And then on top of that, there's the Monte stele. It's an Egyptian inscription. It's from around 1200 BCE, and it mentions Israel being in Canaan.
So we have confirmation that Joshua's conquests could have happened, like, historically.
Potentially.
And this astronomical event that people thought was divine intervention.
Right?
Oh, man, this is what I love about these deep dives.
I know. It's like solving a puzzle.
It is. Each source gives us another clue, and we get to, like, build this picture of the past.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get into the Tunguska event, are you ready to tackle one more biblical event?
Let's do it. Which one are you thinking?
The darkness that happened during the crucifixion.
Okay.
Let's try to figure that one out. All right, so this darkness during the crucifixion, it's spooky. People say it was supernatural, but could it have been, like, a science thing?
It's definitely a fascinating one. So we know a solar eclipse wouldn't have worked, right? Passover is always during a full moon. But what about a lunar eclipse?
Wait, are you saying, like, a lunar eclipse could have happened the same day as the crucifixion?
Well, there actually was a lunar eclipse.
Really?
On April 3rd, 33 CE. And some think that was the actual date of Jesus' death. And get this, there are historical writings that back this up. Phlegon of Tralles, a Roman historian, he wrote about this weird darkness and an earthquake. It was all around the same time.
Didn't Tertullian say something about this too? Like, even Roman historians wrote about this darkness.
Exactly. It's like we have all these different people seeing this, It really makes you think that something big must have been happening up there. Of course, there are other natural explanations too, right? We could be talking a huge dust storm or even some kind of volcanic activity. Maybe even something to do with that thorough eruption we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah. And those cams and dust storms, those things can get crazy in the Middle East. Super dark, and they can last for hours. I mean, imagine seeing that back then. I bet people really would thought it was, like, a sign from God.
Right. It's like the way we see the world totally shapes how we understand things that happen. So you ready to move on to something a bit more recent?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the Tunguska event. I am ready for some serious mystery action. Give me all the conspiracy theories.
Maybe we'll stick with the science for now, but I promise it's pretty wild stuff.
All right. You're the boss. Lead the way.
So picture this. It's 1908. Siberia. Super remote. All of a sudden, this mammoth explosion hits. The Tunguska region, trees are flattened for like 830 square miles. That's bigger than all of London.
Whoa.
And the blast, it's estimated to have been like 1,000 times stronger than the bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
That's insane. So what caused that? I mean, it had to be a giant meteor, right? But then where's the crater?
That's the big mystery. There's no crater. Or at least no one's found it yet.
Wait, no crater? But you said millions of trees were just flattened. What did they find when they actually got out there?
It was pure devastation. Trees just down everywhere, and all pointing away from this central point. But no crater. Leonid Kulik, he led the first scientific expedition there. But that wasn't until 1927, almost 20 years later.
Wow. I bet people came up with some pretty wild ideas to explain it. Aliens, secret weapons. What were some of the crazier theories?
Oh, man. People thought it was everything. Black holes, antimatter, even like a Nikola Tesla experiment gone wrong. And because there's no crater, people thought maybe something exploded in the air before hitting the ground.
Okay, so what do scientists think caused the Tunguska event? Do they all agree?
Pretty much, yeah. Most scientists think it was something called an airburst.
An airburst.
So basically a comet or an asteroid exploding in the atmosphere, kind of like that Chelyabinsk meteor in 2013, but like way bigger.
Oh, yeah, Chelyabinsk. That was when they caught on all those dash cams, right? Crazy stuff. But much smaller, thankfully. So is there, like, proof it was an airburst?
There's a bunch of clues, like the way the trees are flattened. They're all pointing out for the middle, so that, I mean, something exploded up above, not on the ground. And they found tiny bits of stuff that looked like they came from a meteor. And, of course, there's no crater. That's a big one.
So basically a bomb went off in the sky. That is both terrifying and awesome. It really makes you think, what if that happened again?
Yeah, it definitely shows that we need to be ready if another big asteroid or comet comes our way. That's why NASA and other groups are working on ways to spot them and even push them away if we have to.
That makes sense. I definitely wouldn't want to be around for that. Okay, let's go back to the Bible stories. It's interesting to think that maybe science can help us understand them better, even if it doesn't change what people believe.
I totally agree. It's like we can appreciate these stories and, at the same time, use science to learn more about the world. It's not about saying one is right or wrong. It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's like maybe those ancient people, they were seeing real stuff happening, but they just didn't have the words to describe it like we do now. It connects science and faith in this cool way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it makes you want to learn more. What do you think our listeners should take away from all this? What should they be thinking about?
I think the big thing is there's always more to the story. We can dig deeper into science. We can learn about history and what people observed, and that can help us see things in a new way. That's what I find so exciting.
Yeah, I love that. It's like embracing the mystery of it all and knowing that there's always something new to discover.
It really is true what they say, right? The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
It's so true. And that's what makes it so cool, don't you think? Like, it just keeps opening up these new questions and sending you down all these rabbit holes.
Exactly. And look at all the places we've been today. Ancient floods, those crazy cosmic airbursts. It's just mind-blowing to think about how those events could have shaped everything. Like history, religion, even just how people saw the world.
Yeah. And it shows you how powerful those stories are. Like, even today, we're still trying to figure them out.
Yeah.
We want to understand our place in the universe, whether it's through science or through faith.
You know what? Before we go, I really hope our listeners will check out some of these sources themselves.
Yeah.
Go watch those YouTube videos, read up on the Tunguska event, learn about the plagues of Egypt or Joshua's long day. There's just so much out there to explore.
Definitely. Don't just take our word for it, right? Go see for yourself. Maybe you'll come to a different conclusion or find something we totally missed.
Exactly. And if you do, let us know. We always love hearing from our listeners.
It's a conversation, right? We're all learning together.
All right. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Yeah.
What other historical events might have a scientific explanation that we just haven't discovered yet? Like, even think about stories from your own family or your culture.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. And remember, science isn't here to ruin the mystery or take away from the wonder of these stories. It's here to make them richer. It helps us understand how the world works and how everything's connected. History, science, and just being human.
So keep that curiosity alive, never stop asking questions, and keep exploring the universe, right? Until next time, happy deep diving, everyone.